You can experience all 4 seasons in just one day here in the Falklands. The winds are often fierce, and at the moment thermometers are hovering around freezing point. It's quite a challenging environment for soldiers from the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment out on patrol.
We've got an important role here, obviously to reassure the locals that British still have the presence here and that we're here to look after them and that everything's going to be alright because we're here. So.
While they're in the Falkland Islands, the soldiers carry out a series of patrols in the outlying settlements. We're in North Arm, which is about 3 hours' drive from Stanley. Some of the people here only get to Stanley a few times a year.
It's a small settlement. North Arm has 19 adults, 9 children and 59,000 sheep. The arrival of soldiers out on patrol is a major highlight for the people here.
There you go, pal. I've got some more for you in a second.
They're not as good as Haribo, but...
Merv, who works on the sheep farm, his wife Sarah and their children are a traditional Falklands family.
And in terms of, you've had the soldiers here for a couple of days, what do you think of that?
They're great childminders. I've seen my life. No, it's lovely because the kids get to see another side of life, you know, not just the camp and town, which is obviously a very restricted view of life. But they get to see other things. A couple of months ago we had 15 of them round for fish and chips simply because they'd been fishing. And they brought all the guns and the equipment in and the kids loved it. But it was another view of life, another side to it.
British troops liberated the islands after the Argentinian invasion in 1982, and despite continuing tensions between the two countries, all the people in this settlement are determined to stay British.
Well, I like the idea from the House of Parliament that we have the right for self-determination, and our determination is British, obviously, because all our ancestors were British. So, you know, why shouldn't we still have that right? But I mean, each and every individual to his own opinion, I suppose, but mine's British and always will be.
For these soldiers, the job in the Falklands is a big contrast to recent deployments. The Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment was formed in 1992 when the Royal Hampshires merged with the Queen's Regiment. Many soldiers from the 2nd Battalion have seen frontline service in Afghanistan. They've also done garrison duty in Cyprus. And after returning to the UK, they were involved in the royal wedding earlier this year. On the Falklands, they've learnt just how tough conditions were for the troops who fought here in 1982.
Looking around now, to actually travel through the areas they did, you know, and cut through the areas they did with this type of weather, I think it would have been a bit of a nightmare, I think, you know, and then to tab all that way, or to patrol all that way and then finish with a fight. I think that would have been quite an epic sort of journey.
These soldiers will soon be handing responsibility for maintaining an infantry presence on the islands to another regiment. Then they'll return to the UK and swap warm camouflage clothing for blue tunics and polished boots as they prepare for more ceremonial duties. Steve Humphrey, BBC South Today on the Falkland Islands.
And we've travelled 8,000 miles to find out what soldiers from the south are doing in the Falkland Islands. And we're on patrol with soldiers from the south in one of the most remote settlements in the Falkland Islands. And we've travelled 8,000 miles to catch up with a warship that left Portsmouth 4 years ago and has never been home.
Steve Humphrey, BBC South East Today on the Falkland Islands. Steve Humphrey, BBC News on the Falkland Islands.